So I've made it to round 9 hopefully, and you can hear me. So here we are then, the reverse grid, the SBR BTCC race. I say the third race at Suzuka East Course, and it's reverse of the finishing order of race 2, but we have a couple more joining. So we've got Ash and Brooksy in. Ash missed the first 2 races, unfortunately. Brooksy's in for Sean, who's missing, like we've mentioned before. And then it's Brian, Coleman, Lewis, Jeff, John, Leon, Andrew, Will, Nick, Greg, myself, or Ben, Adam, Liam, and then Nathan at the back. So see if Nathan can get through and complete the hat trick. Remember, only one person's ever done that, and that was Ben in the championship decider last season at Brands Hatch Indy. But Ash is on the start and looking to well, stretch away like he did at Blue Moon. That would be nice for him. But all the lights are on and we're getting ready for start, and we are away. And a good start from Ash, and we look back from Ash and there's chaos behind. There's a pink car flying around, there's a yellow car and a blue car on the wall that looks like Brooksy. So maybe he's not quite understood the start procedure, but either way he's now last from second on the grid. But it's Ash that sweeps in first. Looks like Lewis is up to second already, so he's got to be favourite for the win now surely. And as they come round, and it looks like everyone's just about getting round, but we'll replay of the start on board with Leon. And I think Leon's also one that jumped the start, we'll see. Yes, he's creeping, and I think he'll get penalised for that, and he does. Now all the cars behind have to miss him, and you can see there's another car that was jumped the start slow away, and there's Coleman there off to the left, and a slow start and Brooksy on the right hand side. So disastrous start, and we're on board now with Brooksy, and we'll see what happens. He just doesn't move, and then everyone's got to get past him, but they can't, and it's Coleman that rams him at the back. And then it's, I think it's Andrew is also involved. No, it's Jeff. Jeff also gets involved, and he's waiting. So, and then the last view here from Coleman just got nowhere to go and just catches the back of Brooksy, and it just gets absolutely pummeled by half the field, and he's facing the wrong way after about 10 feet. So yep, now we're on board with Ben, and this is going to see how he managed to get up to 5th place. We're hearing at the start. So there's the jump start from Greg as well. So there's 4 cars that jump the start, and it was both rocket cars, so he's already up to 11th. Now he's going to be up to an 8th from 13th. Now he's already got a good run on Nick into the first corner and takes 7th. Will comes flying up the inside of Andrew, puts him wide, and that puts him into 6th. So 13th to 6th as we rejoin the action as they head into turn 2 with Leon at the back again, bless him. But it's Ash from Lewis and then John up there fighting with Brian, and he's gone wide, and that'll allow Will round the outside probably, and Will with a great start as well. So Will's flying through the field, and he takes 4th place from John. So look back to see where the other guys that have been dominating this meeting so far, and Leon's sideways again. And now Lewis takes the lead off Ash, and that was to be expected, to be honest. Ash hasn't done any practice, only a couple practice laps to be honest with you. So yeah, he's a little bit rusty, and Lewis has had 2 races already. So Ash holding on well though, and if he can just hang on to Lewis for a little while, it might give him a good position at the end. But not expecting much from Ash, because let's face it, he hasn't been in the races today, so anything's a bonus for him right now. But he's got Brian and John behind him, so normally he's just a little bit quicker than those guys. So let's see how it works out. Ben's already up to 5th, and he's passed Will. So Will obviously made a mistake that we didn't see, because he was ahead of John, so something's happened there. And there's Greg in 12th, so not worked out for him. Where's Nathan? Nathan's 10th with a penalty, and he's just behind Adam, and it looks like Adam's behind Liam. Why not? Because they've been together pretty much all meeting so far. So that kind of explains it. John having a little sniff around there, the back of Brian, but Brian's holding on well, and Brian driving really well at the moment. And then John's still looking for the overlap, but not quite. Ben's trying to go around the outside of John, but I don't think that's going to work either. Ben will be desperate to get past his teammates so he can go off after the leaders. And oh, there's contact there, and Will's crashed into the side of Ben. Ben's gone wide, and now he's been hit by Andrew as well. So Ben drops down to 7th place, and here's the replay. Will's around the outside, he's hit him once already, now he's gone off and into the gravel and straight across into the side of Ben. So championship winner from last season won't be happy with that. Again, Will just losing his head a little bit. Now Ben's lost his, so he can't can't really slag off Will when I've just done that, and just hit the back of Andrew, but let him carry on in front. So lifted off the throttle and let him go. Now John's up the inside of Brian. John driving well tonight. and deserves a good result. He's had a 10th place already, and that's a good result for him, and allowed him to catch back up to the field in the championship. I mean, while Will, after savaging the Audi, is now trying to make a move up to 3rd place. And let's see what happens. We didn't catch the end of it. Doesn't look like he's done it. Nathan down the inside of Adam. That looks like it could be done. Adam been overtaken there twice today now. He does fly into the first part of the corner and then maybe leaves himself open in the second part, but Nathan taking advantage of that. But Nathan's just got some serious pace tonight anyway. And there's Ben's being attacked by another car, and it's a Laser Tools car of Nick that time, but Nick's lost out. Again, a little bit of impatience has moved him back to 9th place now. He was ahead of Nathan, but now Nathan's taking the position as Nick loses out, and he's pushed Adam wide a little bit. Adam's got a wheel off, and that's probably enough to get Liam past, although depends if Adam can get the slipstream off that Laser Tools car in front. He can't. And if they're talking to each other in the chat, maybe they can get something sorted there. They can get slipstream. Ben trying to go around the outside, or being attacked by Nathan. Nathan trying to go around the outside and slammed into the door of Ben, but Ben's around the outside, and we've seen that's a pretty good line. A bit more contact, a bit more. One of them's got to give up at some point. Nathan's still hanging on, but not quite got the move done. Bit of door banging mid-corner, but seemed alright to me. Great bit of hard racing, but they both stayed on the track, and they both gave each other pretty much what the other gave them, so they march on in this race. But Nathan's looking fast. Meanwhile, out front, Lewis is starting to pull away, and he's going to try and get the gap before those so-called faster drivers come through. Will's now all over the back of Ash, and Will's been driving well tonight, with speed-wise anyway. Been a few incidents, but he's notably the one with Ben we've just seen, and obviously the one in the first race where he nudged up the back of Coleman, but he's through and past Ash. Ash now under a threat from John in the second Audi, first Audi in this race actually at this moment. So wide for Brooksy, but again no testing for Brooksy, so can't judge the guy on this. But from what we've seen in the 3 practice laps he was allowed, he looked pretty stable and fast, so I'm sure he'll be looking to get into the league. And John Note driving well as well, still in 4th place at this stage of the race, and we're pretty much halfway through it already. This 3rd race always goes fast. Nathan now looking at who's that off. That's Nick. He's going to get to the wall, and he has. So Nick, all his good work has been undone. 6th in the last race, so that was a hell of a result for him. But now Nathan trying to get past Ben, and you feel if he gets past then he can move on. Ben trying to down the inside of Andrew. Andrew doesn't let him, leaves the door open though, and Ben sneaks through, and probably Nathan will come through too, and he has. So the guys that have been dominating proceedings so far are starting to work their way through. But Lewis has got a very handy lead, and that's ambitious from Brian. He's completely off the track to make that move, and that's not really on. John gets forced out, and Ben will swoop around the outside and take the 5th position. So unlucky for John. That was kind of like a dive bomb there really from Brian, and it wasn't really on. And now Nathan getting moved out by Andrew. Andrew's not taking it. He may have lost the position, but he's more than willing to take it back, and Liam's taking the position off Nathan as well. So Nathan down to 9th place all of a sudden, so that's good news for the other championship rivals, but I think they need a bit more than that. They need him not to turn up for about 3 weeks. However, Nathan won't take that, and with the pace he's got, he can fight back. And here's John fighting with Brian. Brian's nudged him again, and after the move Brian made on him, I'm sure John's not going to hold back. And you can see there in the foreground that Ben's now closed onto the back of Ash, and yep, Liam up the back of Andrew there. Probably surprised by his mid-corner pace, but everyone's got different lines on this track, so you just need to adapt. Up the inside from Andrew, but Andrew was completely off the track trying to do it. These guys now starting to get a bit impatient as the race starts to wear away. We're at half distance now. Meanwhile, Lewis, like he has for most of this race, is leading the way. Will just closing a little bit, but not that fast. Ben down the inside of Ash. Looks like he could get that done. Ashley's left a gap still. Ben's giving him as much space as he can. There's a bit of contact on the exit, a bit more for the next corner, but he's through, and no harm, no foul, and they race on. Ash doing a great job, really good job. of holding most of these guys back. And a bit more contact, and Liam's getting hit up the back from Andrew like Liam did to him a lap ago. And Adam trying to go around the inside there of Greg and pushes Greg off. Greg's off into the gravel and stops the car, and he's so disgusted with that he's finished the race. Lewis though, like I say, leading, but Will's ever closing. Not a great amount at the moment, but definitely faster. John dives down the inside of Brian, a great move, and takes 5th place. John really driving well tonight and deserves a good result, and Liam's shoved Andrew out the way this time. He's like, mate, you need to stop hitting me, and he's gone past him. Adam though will now look to get past. Adam's had good results in the first 2 races, but it's not working out at the moment. We're at over half distance now, and he's still outside the top 10. Ben there's racing away from Ash. Ash now being caught by John and Brian. They all filter through, and there's John in the number 80 car, and just behind him is the 2 Airwaves cars that run in formation flying. Nathan up to 6th now, so he's regrouped really well, now past his teammate Brian and up into 6th place. But another tale of woe for Jeff, who's just not really had the pace tonight, which is quite surprising. Brooksy though in 14th and not last, so he'll be happy with that. Last is Leon though, and he's just been really unlucky. He's had good pace, battled for 8th and 9th most of the time, but gets caught out in a few incidents, so it needs to look at that really. But Will is really now starting to close in on Lewis. Lewis, we know sometimes on tracks like this will wear his tyres out quicker being on a pad, and it looks like it's happening again. So can Will close in? Ben's closing in a bit on Will's. Nathan's up to 4th place ahead of Ash. And looks like John's been hung out to dry somewhere because he's down to 7th now. Nick though closing back in after a scary moment at the last corner. He's up to 11th place and right on the back of Adam. Adam himself though is trying to make a move on Andrew. But I don't think that's going to work. Oh, Andrew's just struggling to pick where he wants to go. And up, in front of that, Liam's hit the side of Brian by the looks of it. Brian maybe not seeing him again, but didn't see it, so we can't call it. But Liam is another one that's struggling to make any sort of impression on the race. And there's John, he's in 6th place, sorry. So he's looking good to score some good points. And I hope Brian can hold up this pack for a little longer so he can make good a break. Brian driving well as well, so he's had a few disastrous races tonight, but this one's looking a lot better for him. But he's got a lot of hounds behind him that are pretty happy to take that position if they can. Meanwhile, Andrew's still weaving around the track a little bit with Adam right behind him. Adam's really good down the straight, we've seen it all night, but I don't think he's close enough to take the position. No, he's not. Can he get down the inside? No, he can't. Jeff's looking down the inside in the background on Nick, and he's taken the position, so Nick storming to the back of the field. But here's the battle for the lead, and Lewis has now been closed fully down by Will, and Ben's joined the party too. Nathan's up to 4th place, but quite a way back, so it doesn't look like he'll win this one. And in fact, Ashley holding on to him quite well. So Ashley doing a great job despite not really practicing for this race and not actually being able to do the first 2 races. But he's come back strong in this one, and he's running a great 5th place. So he might be challenging Greg for start of the night. He might do a driver of the day actually from now on and just see how that works out. I'll probably say myself just because I'm biased now, I'm only joking. Here's the battle for lead though, and it is Will now taking the lead. So how did he do that? So we haven't seen it. Will takes the lead. Lewis second. Lewis, that's the one. Lewis was leading then into turn 1, so something's happened by himself. So he's probably run wide onto that horrible AstroTurf, and he's gone sideways and just about kept the car. Wow. And he kept 2nd position somehow. Ben just couldn't do anything because the car was broadside in front of him, so can't really go anywhere. But can Will win his first race? He's only got 4 laps to hold on. He's been quicker than Lewis, so he's caught like a 3-second gap to Lewis, so he's obviously quicker. Meanwhile, look at that battle for, I think it's 5th, all the way down to about 13th. So Will, can he stretch away from Lewis before Ben attacks Lewis? Because no doubt Ben's got better tyres than Lewis. Lewis a little bit wide, almost on the grass. Flash of the lights from Lewis, flash of the lights from Ben. This is all getting a bit serious now with 3 laps to go. In the background you can see Nathan, so these guys do get into each other. Nathan will be there because the lap times we know he can do. He'll be there in no time. Ben up the inside of Lewis. Lewis leaves a gap and he's through. So Ben up in 2nd place, and that's the worst thing for Will. Will won't want to see that. And a bit of a nudge from Lewis, but it's a bit too late for that. Move's done. Ben up into 2nd place, and now he will smell victory now, surely. And another little nudge from Lewis. And I'm working through this last section, and he's already caught Will. He's onto the back of him already. So can he get past him on this front straight? Really tight line there, trying to get the drive out the last corner, and look at the space he's put into Lewis just on pure traction. Both of them did. Perfectly placed now to have a go at Will. So Will's dived to the inside. Ben's to try to dummy him, but it didn't work. Will's just sideways from Ben, but surely now down the inside. Can he get that? No, Will's covered it. He knows what he's thinking. Brian's still doing really well in 6th, and look at this for 7th, 8th and 9th, 10th and 11th and 12th, and they're all off. Jeff, and it's Andrew that's been hung out to dry, and John's fallen back to 12th. He was 7th, so I don't know what's happened there. And they all managed to somehow get around that corner without killing each other, so Liam's up to 7th and pulling away from it, and probably glad he is. Jeff comes out the other end in 8th, ahead of Adam in 9th, who's just not managing to go forward. In fact, Ben now under attack from Lewis, so something's gone on there. Probably Ben's run wide again at that last corner, but he's lost a lot of time to Will, and surely now Will can win this race. Ben now just hanging back, but Will's decided to take his penalty, and that was a bad idea. He did it on the racing line, and Ben just slammed in the back of him thinking that he was taking the whole penalty. So it's really not the cleverest of ideas, but you can see why he's trying to do it. He wants to win the race, because right now with that penalty he will drop down to probably 4th place unless he can get it taken. But I mean, if you just take a little bit at the first corner each lap, I'm sure it'll go. 2 laps to go at this stage, 1.5 actually. And Adam now fighting both Seats for 9th. John's there as well. He's just slammed in the side of Andrew. Andrew fights back and pushes him wide. So it's not in your life. And here we go. Ben's up the inside as we enter the last lap. Ben's alongside Will. He's got an overlap. Will's trying to close the door on him. There's contact. And if Will's not careful, he'll wrap the car around the front of the Audi, because Ben won't back out, and he hasn't. Will decides to dive into the corner anyway, and he's gone too deep on the brakes and gone wide. And it looks like Lewis has done the same, and in a flash Ben takes the lead, and Nathan's up to 2nd from 4th. What a change around. So now Ben surely is on his way to victory on this last lap. Will's overdriven again and cost himself a win. Down to 3rd place, which will probably be 4th if Lewis has got any brains to just follow him. Brooksy in 14th, challenging Coleman for 13th, and Lewis and Will are side by side in the background. Who's going to come out in front? Will shoves Lewis wide and then runs wide himself, and Lewis will take the position anyway, but he would have got it because of the penalty. Ben wins his 2nd race of the season. Nathan 2nd incredibly, 3rd for Lewis, 4th for Will, and he'd be gutted about that. He was leading the race across the line when he started the last lap. And then 5th for Ash. Brilliant display, absolutely mega result for him. And we'll recap the results because there's a lot of penalties, so we'll just recap the results when we finish the race. Leon finishes it how he started it, which is sideways. So a win for Ben, 2nd for Nathan, 3rd for Lewis, 4th for Will. Brilliant result really, but he would want it to win that race. 5th for Ash, great result. 6th for Brian, brilliant result. Liam 7th, 8th obviously for Nick, 9th for Adam, 10th for Jeff, 11th for Andrew, 12th for John, so he did pick up some points, 13th for Coleman filling in, Brooksy 14th on his debut, 15th for Leon, and Greg retired from the race. So the points are massive lead now for Nathan, looks pretty unstoppable. Ben 2nd, Liam 3rd, then it's Lewis, Adam, obviously Sean didn't really race tonight, only got a couple points that Brooksy scored, and Jeff slipping down to 7th, 8th for Greg after 2 good finishes, 9th for Will, and 10th for Nick. And Nathan and Brian 20 points clear of Liam and Nick in the championship for teams. Ben and John up to 3rd, the Vauxhalls up to 4th, Chevy moved down to 5th, obviously with one driver tonight. Pretty big Ford languishing down to 6th. Seat lose a lot of points and down to 7th, and then Leon and Greg and Belgian Full English bring up the rear. Thanks for watching SBR Sim Racing British Touring Cars.